Good evening. Okay, so 34 students have joined. So we'll just wait for 2 to 3 minutes. In the last webinar session, I told you that be attentive for the session because we are getting a report here. The students who are not attentive. Okay, so I'm getting Shreyansh, Vaibhav, Shalini, right? So these people are getting not attentive, right? So you are not go, you will see the window. You have to open the window. You have to see the things. Okay, so 39 students came. So I think I will just start it. Uh, 42 students have joined. I am getting lots of love from your Android app. Okay, so we will start now. So in the last lecture, we learned about the some security best practices and AWS specific taxes. So today we are going to continue with that part. Okay, so before starting with that, we'll go it here, right? So this was our content that we have started in the last lecture. That is, this is a best practice, that is implement the elasticity. Okay, so we talked about these things, automating your infrastructures. You have to do the automation so that the human intervention should not be there. Automatically these things should happen over there. Okay, so that's what the elasticity means, right? So the second part is what bootstrapping your instances, right? So basically the bootstrap your instances is done for having a self healing and self discoverable environment. So what actually is means is that, so you need to have a coding in a such a way that you need to make some arrangements in a such a way that if there are any problems are happening there, then it should overcome these problems automatically and it should come to an original position. So that's what a self healing, right? So what actually the AWS is specifying the that to implement this elasticity, what actually you need to do, right? So we'll see with respect toward the elasticity, right? So here the AWS specific tactics to automate your infrastructures, right? So you want to automate your infrastructure, then how you will do, or which kind of AWS service you will use it to make this automating your infrastructures, right? Now the first is what you have to define a auto scaling groups for different clusters using the Amazon auto scaling feature. So there is a very great service the AWS is providing us, the auto scaling feature, right? So what actually this auto scaling feature do is that, so whenever you are creating a auto scaling group, then you need to create a first a launch configuration. So the launch configuration is nothing but it's a template that how your instance will look like, right? So what your instance will have, that's what the launch configuration. So once you create a launch configuration, so using that launch configuration you can create a auto scaling group. Okay, now what it means is that whenever you create a launch configuration means what, so let us say that if I define some minimum and maximum instances, right? Let us say that if I say that my minimum instances should be the 2 and maximum I should go for a 4, right? So based on my request, based on my workload. So EC2 instance from 2 to it will go to what, up to the 4. It will not go to the 5 instances, because we have specified that minimum there should be a 2 instance and maximum it should go to the 4 instance, right? So when it will happen, so this happen whenever there is a very high load. Okay, so whenever there is a very high CPU utilization, so that time my 2 instances is not enough to serve this request. So what auto scaling group will do is that based on his configuration, it will again add the 2 instances for our application. Means totally we can have a 4 instances for our application. So this is what auto scaling is going to do it, right? So now if I getting the very less request, okay, then these 2 instances again get reduced to what, now again it will come to what, minimum, right? So there is a concept of minimum and maximum instances in auto scaling group. That's very important. The minimum is telling you that at any time the number of instances that should run. Okay, so 2 instances should run, and maximum is what, if there are a peak load is there, if there are some CPU utilization is getting very high because of some high request, then it should go to what, a 4 instances. So that's what a auto scaling feature that is provided by my AWS for us, right? And it is basically is for a EC2 instances, right? Now second AWS specific tactics you can do is that monitor your system matrices, right? So you have to monitor your system metrics. Means for a EC2 you can monitor your CPU, you can monitor your memory, you can monitor your disk input output, and also you can monitor your network input output. Now which is a service actually the AWS is providing for this, is that service name is Amazon CloudWatch, and already we talked about this. The CloudWatch is monitoring these things, this monitoring the performance, and based on this you can take appropriate actions, right? So what you can say is that the see here your EC2 instance is working on, right? And if the EC2 instances are getting very, they are requiring very high CPU, then what will happen is that there will be a very performance degradation. So Amazon CloudWatch will measure these things, and it will allow the auto scaling group to take some action. So it will forward, the CloudWatch will intimate the auto scaling group to increase from 2 instances to the 4 instances, right? So this CloudWatch will do. Is this clear to all, right? So auto scaling group and CloudWatch are going to work hand in hand, because if the CloudWatch providing the data, if CloudWatch is telling us auto scaling group to take appropriate action, then auto scaling group is going to take the action. So that's why these two things are going to hand in hand, right? So now third, store and retrieve the machine configuration information dynamically, right? So you can store some machine configurations. Okay, so there are machine configurations can be changed, right? So you can store these machine configurations, and dynamically also it can happen that there can be a change, right? So basically what they're suggesting is what you should use a Amazon simple DB feature to fetch these configurations whenever there is a boot of an instance. Is this clear to all, right? So the boot of an instance is very important. If you want to do some task before booting your EC2 instances or while booting your EC2 instances, then that time it can fetch this data from simple DB. So in short, the third point is telling us to use the simple DB feature for us, right? Now the next fourth one, design a build process such that it dumps the latest builds to a bucket in a Amazon S3. Is this clear, right? So latest builds, if you are building, if you are writing an application for it, you are testing it, right? So it's before testing you should build this your applications, right? So whenever there are building is happening, okay, whenever there are changes is happening, so that should be stored to what, Amazon S3, because it also comes in what, elasticity features, right? So what is actually a use of this Amazon S3 is what, to download the latest version of an applications from during system startup. So it can happen that we can use the latest version for our applications, and this can be done whenever the latest build is there, then you can store it on Amazon S3, right? So now next, invest in building the resource management tools, right? So you need to use these tools like a Chef Perfect, right? So there is no need to learn about these tools, right? So these are very configuration management tools. These are open source which are available and company people are using it. These tools are not related to our AWS, right? So but these tools can be used for integrating with our AWS, right? So there is no need to know about what is the Chef, Puppet and all these things, right? So just you know that you are going to use these tools for automating. Okay, you can use for automating the script, and basically these are is for what? A source configuration management tools. These are managing the configurations, right? So now bundle the just enough operating system GOS and your software dependencies into an Amazon machine image. Okay, so what actually this is telling is what, if there are any dependencies into it, then you can initially only you can remove these dependencies, or you can add these dependency in your AMI only. This AMI is what? Amazon machine image. That's like it's like your OS plus software configuration. So if there are any dependencies are required for your applications to be execute, then you can bundle it in your operating system earlier, and it is a AMI, right? And you can use this AMI for creating a many EC2 instances, right? So now 7, reduce the bundling and launch time by booting from Amazon EBS volume and attaching multiple EBS volumes to an instance, right? So we saw this process, right? So we can attach the multiple EBS, elastic block store volumes, right? So you can attach to your instances, right? So what you are actually doing is what, you are reduce this bundling process, and also you can reduce what, launch time. Why? Because already you are in ABS. If you already you have configured, so directly you can use it and you can attach it to your instances and you can directly use it, right? So and also you can create the snapshots of a common volumes, right? So this feature is available, right? We saw that we can create a snapshot of our EBS volumes, and also we can share these snapshots to other accounts. Is this clear, right? So this can happen, so I can use it. Now application component should not assume health or location of hardware is it is running on, right? So for example, dynamically attach the IP address of a new node to the cluster, automatically failure and start a new clone in case of a failure, right? So basically this is related to what your application part, application component, where actually you did a coding, right? So it should not have any assumption related about the health or the locations where actually it is stored, right? So it's because it can cause a problem in case of a failure, right? So basically of parallelizations, right? So you need to bring this into your cloud while designing the architectures in the cloud, right? So it's advisable that not only implement parallelization wherever possible but also automate it, because the cloud allows you to create a repeatable process every easily. Is this clear? So it's very important that you are going to use a kernel part. Okay, so now so we'll see directly what are the AWS specific tactics for thinking the parallels, right? So parallel, basically the parallel is doing for speeding, maximum performance, throughput. You want to increase this thing, right? So multi-threading is one of the options that you can use it, where multiple concurrent threads are will store or fetch the data faster. Means what? A faster performance, throughput, so everything will be increased, right? So this is actually advantage of what while thinking a parallel, right? So now we'll come to what are the AWS specific tactics for parallelizations, right? So what actually the AWS is supporting, right? So the first is what multi-threading, just we talked about multi-thread your Amazon S3 request. Okay, so basically many people are using our S3, that is a simple storage service, where what actually I am doing is that I am storing the data over there, I am storing the images, I am storing the videos, I am storing the text files, right? So I'm storing this file. So multi-thread your Amazon S3 request so that the parallelly I can access the data if they are not dependent to each other, so I can access the parallelly data, which will speed up the things. Is this clear? So also you can multi-thread your Amazon simple DB get and patch boot request. So using for a simple DB, it's a database, right? So it's a very old database that were used, right? So we are not having a RDS, there are so many databases came, right? So you can use these operations get and batch put. Batch put means what? There are some several or groups of the things put into one each other, and totally this will be put into what our S3, right? Or in a simple DB also, that's you can, right? So now the third, create a job flow using the Amazon Elastic Map Produce. Okay, so you are going to create a job flow. So why this is actually the job flow is required is that basically this Amazon Elastic Map Produce is for a Hadoop kind of the services, where actually whenever there is a Hadoop kind of a services is there, Hadoop kind of application is there, then the batch processes are coming. Okay, so for example is what they told about indexing, log analysis, right? So this kind of a thing will come. So basically this thing I can make a parallel and I can save my time. Okay, because Hadoop is requiring much more time, right? So I can create a job flow, and for this I will use a service of Amazon Elastic Map Produce, that is what EMR, Amazon EMR, Elastic Map Produce. This is a service, right? So now use the elastic load balancing service, right? So in the last lecture we saw the load balancing creation also. I have created one YouTube video also and shared with you also. And during the what you say that during the presentations, okay, during the review too, right? So I saw the two groups have used the load balancer. It's very good, right? They are using the load balance. So as much as the services you use it, you learn it for your application, then you will understand there are n number of services are available with the AWS, right? And many of them are free. Is this clear? What actually happens is that you are creating very incorrect and you are getting money for that, right? So you use it properly, understand it first and use it properly, right? So you can use a load balancing service also. I think there is no need to tell about your load balancing because already you learned about many things. So it is used for spreading your load across the multiple web app servers dynamically if you want to do it. Is this clear to all, right? Now coming to the next is what, the keep dynamic data closer to the compute and static data closer to the end user. Okay, this total wording itself indicates what actually it is telling us about is that dynamic data needs to be closer to the compute. Why? Because dynamic data is going to change. Is this clear to all? So I need to keep this data near to my compute side, wherever the computing is going to happen. And the static data means this is not going to change it, right? So this can be located very near to the end user, right? So why actually this required? Because this required to speed up the things. Okay, if there is some static data is in any web applications, right? So directly the end user can access is without going access to the directly web server. So there is no need to go to the directly web server for accessing the static data. So static data can be keep near to the end user because it is not changing, and dynamic data is changing. So if I keep the dynamic data very near to the end user, so what will happen is that the end user might get a older version of data. Is this clear? So the consistency will not be there. So that's why the dynamic data needs to be clear closer to the compute, and static data needs to be very closer to the end user, right? So this is a best practice that you can use it while designing your applications. You are a cloud architect, right? So you are going to become a cloud architect, so you need to think about this. Is this clear to all, right? So you can read all these things. They are giving the information about this thing only. Okay, so Now, what are the AWS specific tactics with respect to this, right? So ship your data drives to Amazon using the import export service. Is this clear to all, right? So you are going to use this service, import export service. There is a import export services available in AWS where you can move your data to the Amazon. You can import the data, you can export the data from the AWS. Is this clear, right? So why? Because it is cheaper and faster to move large amounts of data using the sneakernet than to upload using the internet, right? So there are two ways. If you want to upload this data using your internet, let us say that there is a 200 TB data is available. Let us say you are having a 200 TB data in your organization and you want to move into the, what do you say, you want to move into the, your AWS. Then by using the internet, it will take several days, right? So why to go for these several days? So why can use that? I can use this import export service where it is very cheaper and where it is a very faster than our using upload using the internet, right? So use it. Now utilize the same availability zone to launch a cluster of machines. Is this clear, all right? So they are telling us to use a same availability zone. Is this clear, all right? So only one availability zones, right? So where you can make a cluster of machine means what? As I told you, what, there are regions and under the regions there are availability zones, right? So there are let us say 2A, 2B and 2C. These are the three availability zones, right? So you can put all these cluster of machine in only one same availability zone, in only one 2A. Is this clear? You will not spread the machines EC2 instances across the availability zone. You will keep it only on single availability zones, right? So what actually it is giving us, that it will give us the faster, right? So now one more, it's very important, right? So many times in exam also this question is asked. So create a distribution of your Amazon S3 bucket and let Amazon CloudFront cache. It's very important, CloudFront service, right? So basically this CloudFront service is used for catching the contents globally. Okay, catching the content for what? Globally. Is this clear? So how actually the CloudFront works is that the CloudFront stores the data at edge locations. Now here in this document they have mentioned 14 edge locations, but as of now we are having around 217 edge locations, 217 edge locations all around the world which are available for us, right? So this is a CloudFront service. So this CloudFront service is storing the cache content at these edge locations. Okay, now I will give the example. Let us say is that there is one applications, okay, which is deployed in America. Let us say there is a applications, okay, which is deployed in America, and Indian people is accessing that server. Okay, now Indian people needs to go to the America, right? So there will be a network delay, there might be a delay in getting the request and so on, right? So this problem can happen. So what can happen is that that data can be very near to you, okay, because all around the world there are 217 edge locations. So there might be one edge location which is very near to the India, right? So you can access that data from that CloudFront so that you will save your time. So you will need to go up to the CloudFront, that edge location only. There is no need to go to or directly that web server. Is this clear? So the CloudFront is a very good service that is going to cache the content. Is this clear to all, right? So it's very important things that you can use it for your, okay. So now coming to what a security best practices, right? It's very important because you want to secure your application. If you want to secure your application, then you need to think about the security parts. Is this clear, right? So what the security part is going to do is that it will give you the two things, that is protect your data in a transit, okay, and protect your data at rest. Okay, the name itself indicates the things. Protect your data in transit. So it means is that whenever you are exchanging the informations between the two server or between the client and the server, that it will be in between data that is moving, okay, one from one end to another end. So that data is what your data is in transit. So you want to secure that data is in a transit. Let us say that you are having a internet banking, okay, you are having a internet banking user ID and password. Let us say for example SBI, right? So you are typing online SBI website where you are going to put your username and password, right? So this username and password is very important for you, and this is going to be checked at the web server end. It is not going to be checked at your end, client end. It will be checked at the server end. That server might be anywhere, yes or no? So your data, username and our password are moving to that server. Is this clear? So in between anyone can hack it. Is this clear? So you want to secure your data while in transit. Is this clear? So very important. So in AWS is also it's very important, right? So if you need to exchange a sensitive or confidential information between a browser and a web server, right? So you need to secure this thing. So what you will use it in AWS at, you will use a SSL. It's very important, right? Secure socket layer. So configure the SSL on your server instance, right? So this SSL can get a certificate from various external certification authorities, right? So like a VeriSign is there, who is going to give us the SSL certificate. Also Entrust is going to give us also X.509, it is also going to give us the certificate for this SSL, right? So you can use this authority, certification authority for SSL. So in AWS also we are going to use this SSL whenever there is a moving data, right? So now let's here when the data is moving from S3 to your EC2 instance, so in between there is a SSL, right? So you need to use this SSL certificate. Then whenever you are using a SSL certificate, then you are protecting your data in transit. So best example of SSL certificate is what? HTTPS, right? So many bank websites are using a HTTPS, right? So because it is a secure. Is this clear? So you use it and you can secure your data while in a transit. Now protect your data at the rest, yes or no, right? Now you are knowing that you are storing your data at the AWS. The AWS will take care about protecting your data at rest. So how it will protect our data at rest, right? So basically there is a one service KMS. There is one service named KMS, that is a key management service, right? So basically this is a service with the AWS which is giving us the protections for the data at the rest. Is this clear, right? So if you are concerned about storing the sensitive confidential data in the cloud, right, you should encrypt the data, right? So if you want to if you want to store this sensitive confidential data, you want to secure this data, then you have to do a encryption, okay? And who will provide a encryption? The KMS will provide us the encryption for it. Is this clear, right? So you are going to so basically Amazon S3 is going to use this encryption, right? So you might be aware about the encryptions that are using, right? So also in Amazon EC2 also you use encryptions, right? So that's a file encryption, right? So basically that is very, or that is dependent on what operating system, right? So Amazon EC2 instances running Windows can use the built-in encryption file system EFS features, right? So this is will be available with the EC2 instances who are using the Windows, okay? EC2 instances running in what? A Windows. So this feature is available, so we can use it. But along with this feature there is a feature of that you can use it for using a KMS, right? So almost for all the services this KMS can be used. So this KMS is nothing but a key management service. So this key management service is used for protecting your data at the rest. Is this clear, right? So what you can encrypt is that you can encrypt your EBS volume, you can encrypt the S3, you can encrypt the EC2 instance, right? So you can encrypt so many things, right? So using this KMS, so it's very important, you should know about these things. Is this clear to all, right? So I will show one practical also with respect to this encryptions, right? With the S3 I will show you that, right? So now, so you need to store the keys, right? So this KMS is providing a storage for a keys. So keys will be stored with the KMS service. So this is very secure KMS service, right? So no one can access these keys without your concerns or without your permissions. Is this clear to all, right? So it's very important, right? So this KMS is basically used for authentications, also for authorization also, right? Now coming to the next is what? Protect your AWS credentials. So it's very important. You want to protect your AWS credentials, right? So all of you have created your AWS account. You are you are logged in using as a root user, username and password, right? So using that you are logged in. So you need to secure your AWS credentials. There should not be what you say that you are, if you are sharing these AWS credentials, so anyone can do something over there, right? So this can cause you money. Is this clear? So you are not going to share the any AWS credentials, or you are not going to store anywhere these AWS credentials. You will protect your AWS credentials. Is this clear though, right? So basically AWS is supplies the two types of security credentials, right? So AWS access key and X.509 certificates, right? So these certificates is very important. Also we are using in SSL also, right? So this can be used for storing or for what do you say that securing our access key ID and secret access key, right? So these terminologies you may be knowing about access key ID, right? Now you are an organizer, so you can sorry, you are a root user. Now what you can do is that you can create a user, okay, under the root user. So that root user should have a access key ID and secret access key, right? So I have shown you whenever we did a IAM practicals earlier, right? So we are using this access key ID and secret access key. So these for a user. Is this clear though, right? So these two parts should be stored. Is this clear? These two parts should be secured, right? So for storing or for what is it, for passing these informations, access key and secret access key, we are going to dot HTTPS request. Okay, that's what SSL we are securing, right? So this overall we talk about what we want to protect our AWS credentials. Is this clear, right? So now that comes to the next one. Manage the multiple users and their permissions with the IAM. This is very important. IAM, identity access management, right? So there is a section of authorizations, right? So you can, for a user, you can assign some permissions that what this user can do, right? So in a practical I have shown you that in a IAM I can create a user, and for that user I can assign you administrator access. If you want to assign the administrator access, then this user can only do all these things, because administrator access is going to have all the services to be utilized. If I say that this user is going to only responsible for S3, then it will be only responsible, or it will only work on a S3. It will not go for creation of EC2 server also. Is this clear? So like this, you have to manage the multiple users and their permissions. So you are going to give the permissions to the multiple user, that what actually you are going to do it. Okay, one is responsible for S3, one is responsible for EC2, one is responsible for say load balancer. So like this I can give the permissions what actually you can do it. Is this clear, right? So what IAM is telling us, that IAM is telling us to give a very least privilege, okay, very least privilege by granting, right? So how you can give the least privilege is that you can grant them is what the things, right? So let us say that if they are accessing a S3 bucket, let us say that if I am giving them access for a S3 bucket, so I will be very specific. I will give only for that bucket, right? So in a S3 I can create multiple buckets. Is this clear? And if I say that multiple buckets should not be accessed by that user, only one bucket should be accessed by that user, and only you can do that operation into that bucket. So this is also possible. Is this clear? So specifically, so that's what a least privilege. Okay, so we will see what is actually the work of that user, and based on that work of user you are going to assign the permissions to that user. Okay, if you're saying is that he wants to only create the files in this bucket, only create, only write the bucket, so he's not having the permissions to read also. Is this clear to all? So if I say that if I'm giving only permission for reading the bucket, he is not going to have the permission for writing to a bucket. So this is what the least privilege. So you will give the least privilege to the your users, right? So this is overall talking about what the IAMs, right? So now secure your applications, it's very important. Now you want to secure your applications, right? So you talked about all these things, you are talked about AWS services security, right? Now comes is what you want to secure your applications. So how these applications can be secured? The very answer for this securing your application or your security groups. You are going to use a security group. Now all of you are very familiar with the security groups, right? So security groups are having two features: inbound rules and outbound rules. So what is the inbound rules are indicating? What kind of the connections can connect with my instances, that is what the inbound, and what kind of the connections can go out from my instance, that is the outbound rules, right? So basically you are going to use a security graph. Now you can see that in load balancer also you are using a security group, in EC2 instance also you are using a security group, right? So these security groups are very important because these are acting as like a firewall, right, which are checking which of the kind of the communication should come and which should go out. So this is going to be done, right? So you done a practical also on this. Is this clear to all, right? So you have specified the MySQL Aurora should be connected, and from where it should be connected. I want to connect it from all, then use 0.0.0 for all, right? So this will be connecting to all. If I give a specifically for this particular person or for particular laptop, this also I can do it. So you are by this way using a security group, you are going to secure your application also, right? So these are basically the things which are there for your what you say is that sorry. So we'll have seen this some basic guidelines, right? So which can maximize or which can use a security for your applications. Now what are these? So the first is what you can regularly download the patches from the vendor's website and update your AMI, right? So you are going to update your AMI. If you are using your own AMI, then you have to update your AMI. Is this clear? So that you need to do it patches. Is this clear? If you are taking the AMI from the AWS, so automatically updates are going to be happen through the AWS people, right? And if you are using your own AMI, then you need to update it, you need to download the patches, and you need to do it. Is this clear to all, right? So redeploy the instances from the new AMI and test your applications to ensure the patches don't break anything. Is this clear to all, right? So because you want to check it whether the patches will work or not, okay, or whether the patches are going to have any problem, so you will check it, right? So across all the instances, then after checking only you can go for what your production environment, right? So now next, invest in a test script so that you can run security checks periodically and automate the process, right? So this is what you can write a code for it, you can write a script for it, and to know about what kind of the security is there with my applications, anybody is entering into my system, right? So you are going to do it by using your test script, right? So also you can ensure that third party software is configured to the most secure settings. So this can be used there, right? So never run your processes as a root or administrator login unless absolute necessary. It's very important, right? So I think I also given you the advice is that do not log in using your root account. Okay, so whatever you people are logging, you are logging using a root account. Do not log in using a root account. What you do is that you go to the IAM service, you create one user and give that user as an administrative access and use that user credential instead of going as a root account. Is this clear to all, right? So they said unless and absolute necessary for this. Is this clear to all, right? So root is a root account which is having what handling all these things, right? But administrator account is going to access all the services, but I with respect to the IAM, he is not going to have that what you say that permissions, that Okay, so you need to think about this while. So this is overall part about your unit number 6. So in unit number 6, which is very important, what actually you are learned is what you have started with the business benefits of it. You start, then again you learned about technical benefits of it. Then you saw the all the services with the AWS that are available. In the short, you saw it, right? So after that, you saw what are the just now best practices we learned. Then cloud concept, right? So these are the parts of what my unit number 6. So it's very important. I will share this document, right? So on a what you say that so this is around 20 page, right? So there is the next bit is what this is a future direction, right? So this is not there, right? So this is not available for your syllabus also. So this only the 20-page syllabus will be there for unit number 6. But it's very important is that I can ask you any kind of a service. So it's very important you should know about these things, right? Because this unit is architecting for a cloud. Is this clear to all, right? So this is over for unit number 6, and total students are now 52, and I am getting many peoples are not attentive. Let me name Akram Raja, Chandrakant Kodi, Devendra Dare, Ganesh Chaudhary, Navina. Okay, Navina is using a 2 accounts, I don't know. Okay, then again Padmaja, Sahil, Shreyansh, Tushar, right? So these people are, I am getting, these people are not attentive, right? So your name came here, beta, यहाँ पे दिख रहा है यहाँ पे, right? So not attentive. Is this clear, right? So either आपने login बंद करके कहीं पे दूसरी जगह पे window बंद करके check किया, आप कर रहे होंगे. Is this clear? So please do not do it, because as I told you that we get a report, very nice report where वहाँ पे सब पता चल जाता है कि कहाँ पे. Is this clear to all, right? So this is overall talking about the unit number 6. I think I can go for some questions. So can anyone have questions? Please go ahead. The questions are there, right? If you are deployed your web application, that will be also available with that, right? So you can use this, and you can create from this snapshot AMI. Okay, so from this snapshot you can create a AMI also, and you can use this AMI for doing the things. Is this clear? Means, for example, if you are doing all the setting at one instance, then if you are taking a snapshot of it, and from the snapshot if you are creating a AMI, then I can use this AMI with the configured web application, so I can use it. Is it clear? So this is a question from Sham, right? So now next, what are different methods of file encryptions available? Okay, so basically if I talk about S3, right? So there are 4 different kinds of the encryption methods are available. Okay, so what are the 4 different encryption methods? So first one is what there are 2 categories. One is a server side encryption and client side encryption, right? So server side encryption is what SSE, okay, and client side encryption, client side. So the name itself indicates server side encryption means what the encryption is going to happen at the server side, at the AWS side. And in a client side encryption, what is going to happen is what a client is going to do the encryption, and after encryption he will send that data, encrypted data, to the AWS. Means what the client is going to have all the controls over there, right? So in SSE, that is a server side encryption, you are having SSEC. Okay, so SSEC is what server side encryption. Customer, C is for customer, means what there is a server side encryption only, means encryption is going to have happen at the server side only, but the customer will provide the key. That is what SSE-C. Okay, now next, SSE-S3, that is a server side encryption with the S3. So the encryption is going to happen at the server side only, but the encryption key is stored with the S3. Okay, so it is managed and handled by what? S3. So the previous one, that is the customer will provide a key, but now the key, that is the management and handling, are done by what? S3, right? Now there is a one more one, SSEKMS, that is a key management service, server side encryption key management service. So here the whatever the things, key is going to be created and maintained by what? That KMS service of AWS, right? So basically these are the four types of encryptions are available for your S3. Is this clear to all, right? So any questions? Any questions? And this question is asked by Anushka, right? So any questions? Please go ahead for a questions, right? So we're having a time here. So please go ahead for a questions. I'm not getting any questions, whether people are attentive or not. Now, okay, I'm not getting any questions here. Okay, so I think around it's 10 minutes are there. So you are having now a holiday, so try to do some certifications, right? So on LinkedIn I saw the many people just like Sanjay, Anushka, Harshal. Okay, so there are many students, Shubham, so these people are doing a certification. So it's very important, please do a certifications, learn the more and more knowledge also, right? So I am also learning the things, right? So I think you might have heard about the Jenkins, right? So I'm learning this Jenkins service, right? So the Jenkins service is basically used for your deploying your projects, right? So many companies are using this Jenkins, right? This is a CI, continuous integration tools, right? So for deploying and for working for a projects, right? So learn the things, because you are having a time, you do your what you say that your the curriculum part also, right? And you learn these many things, okay, so which are available, and currently these people, company people are using it. Okay, you are having a time, so please learn these things. Okay, so any questions? I'm not getting any questions here. Any questions, please? So around 51 attendees are there. Okay, what about other people's? People are not attentive for a sessions. I don't know what's the problem, right? So this unit 6 is covered. So what we have covered is what? Unit number 4 we have covered, right? So on unit number 4 I told you that some links I have provided at the end. Unit number 4 half part we have completed in our classroom session only, and for around about 1 or 2 bits I have created from 4 to 5 videos for remaining parts, right? So that is also I have shared with you. So that is the unit number 4 part, and unit number 6 was completely through our webinar only. Is this clear to all, right? So this webinar recorded video also I am uploading on YouTube and sharing this link, so that later you can use this link for studying purpose. This is clear, right? So use it this one. So we are left with now unit number 5. Now talking about the activity, now we need to conduct the activity, right? So we have completed our assignment 1. Okay, theory assignment 1 we have completed in a classroom. Also we have completed one activity also in class activity, right? So we have conducted the 2 activities, right? So now what is that I told you that there will be one more assignment activity, right? So that will be assignment activity will be for your what you says that unit number 4 6. Okay, unit number 4 and 6, right? So this will be assignment activity. So next week I will give the assignment activity, right? So this will be over. Then again we are having what? A quiz, right? So we have taken some quiz during the session, so those will be considered, and again I will have some quiz over there. So based on that, so the quiz will be also there. Now one more activity is that I will tell you to do some task, right? So like this in a in class activity we did it, right? So what task I have given you, that I told you to go for search and virtualization softwares which are available, and present the things what actually there is. So that was the activity 1. So in activity 2, what actually I am doing is that I will give you one AWS service and I will tell you to prepare a video for that AWS service. So you are going to prepare a video. This is clear, right? So this is individual activity. This activity is not in a group. Okay, so this will be a very individual activity, so where everyone will create his own video, just like how I created for elastic load balancer. Yes or no, right? I have demonstrated you that elastic load balancers can, this service can be used like this, right? So like this, I will give you a service name, and that service will be similar to for all. Okay, so it's not like that I will give the different service to all other. So that service will be a free tier, will be eligible. Okay, and also this service, you can use this service for creating the videos, means you are going to demonstrate that how to use this service, right? So based on it, how you are demonstrated, and based on this I will give you the marks. Is this clear? So I told you about these activities. So you are in a next week you are going to do these activities, so be ready for this activity and 3 assignments, right? This is clear. So this is about the activity that we are going to conduct in a next, what you said, in the next week, right? So anybody have any questions, let me know if any have questions. Yes, I'm not getting any questions here. Okay, so only few people are asking the questions. Why, I don't know. I am also running, I am also using my mobile data, right? So you should be attentive here. Okay, so I hope today's part you understood. Okay, so I think let me check, this is a API gateway is available or what. Okay, so please be with me. Okay, so I will show you some encryptions there, right? So we'll go for services and we'll go for S3. Internet is very slow because I am working since morning. Oh my god. So okay, it's getting very slow. Okay, at some another day I will show you because it's very slow now, right? So S3. So it's opening S3 console. Okay, so see here, these are the buckets which are available. Okay, so I will just go for this bucket now. So I will enter into this bucket, then so this is one index 3 is available, right? So if I just click on it, right, so I will get some options here, right? So index 3, right? So let's see, I think it's visible to all of you, right? So if I go to this overview, right? So if I go to the properties, there is a encryption is available, right? So just click on this encryption. Then see here, this is what AES 256. Okay. So this AES-256 is a method of encryption. So this is for Amazon S3 server-side encryption to encrypt your data, right? So I told you about the 4 types of encryptions, right? So this is SSE S3 server-side encryption, right? So there is a one more is what? AWS KMS, right? So this is what? Server-side encryption using a KMS, right? So here the key is available with the S3. By default, the KMS will create a key for us and you can encrypt and it will show you the encryption also, right? So now this is what a server-side encryption. There is one more server-side encryption is not there. That is what a customer SSEC, right? So basically this SSEC can be configured using a CLI, that is a command line interface, right? So that can be given that encryptions can be done using a command line encryption. So this option will not be here. Is this clear, right? And one more option is what? Client side encryption. So it's based on the client. If client wants to encrypt his data, so he is allowed to do, right? So he will use any techniques, right? So what I will use, that I will use a SSE S3, that is a server side encryptions, and I will just click on here save. Then this my index 3 file will be encrypted. Okay, so I will untick and again tick, then my data will be visible here, right? So if you just go here now, see here, the encryption is what now? AES-256. So it is available encryptions, right? So also by selecting here actions, right? So from here also you can change your encryption, right? So just click on change encryption, so the same window will appear over there, right? So all these window, whatever they appear, it will be there, right? So this is talking about what the encryptions that is available with my S3, right? So also EBS is also having a encryption. Elastic block store is also going to have a encryption. You can encrypt it, means you can encrypt your block store, right? So no one can access that one. So these features are available with the AWS. So I can use these features for my applications to secure the my data, right? So I can use it for it, right? So this is overall talking about the Amazon S3 encryptions things, right? So can any last, I will ask you the questions, I will see the questions. Okay, so there are no questions here now, right? So I will end the session. So we will meet you in the next week for a webinar session. Then again in the next week also we are having a 2 lectures. Okay, so for the same time, right? So the timetable, or I will intimate you on a group, then you can join the sessions, right? So thank you for joining the sessions. So we will meet in a next week. Thank you.